Panasonic is back in the North American market with not two, three TVs for 2025. I've already told you about the first one, the absolutely epic Z95B. If you haven't seen that video, you need to go watch it. But after that, I need to tell you about the other two televisions that they're bringing to the US this year. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and I'm not kidding. If you haven't seen my video about the Z95B already, you gotta go watch that soon, if not just right after this video, because not only is it an epic TV, but we dished some details on some all-new OLED panel technology that you're really gonna wanna hear, especially if you were disappointed about what you didn't hear in a certain LG video. But I'm not here to talk about that again. I'm here to talk about what's happening right behind me, and that would be the all-new W95B. Now, this will be the flagship mini LED television for Panasonic in the United States market in 2025. And there are a couple of distinct key differences between this TV and its predecessor, which I recently reviewed, the W95A. So here's what it comes down to. For one thing, they've increased the local dimming zone count in this television significantly. I have heard that up to about double in the 65-inch model, and then a little bit less in other models. It just depends on, the larger the screen, the more you have an opportunity to add local dimming zones. The smaller the screen, the less opportunity you can add local dimming zones. More zones, though, is only part of the equation. The other part of that equation is that they have changed the aperture through which the light passes to be a little bit more narrow and focused. And that is also going to help reduce blooming and halo effect around the bright objects on the black background that we love to complain about so much on LCD backlit television. So both of that is very, very encouraging to me, because the Z95A as an OLED has the perfect black levels. That's what you would expect. No halo, really intense brightness. The W95A, I felt like could have used a little more zing and a little bit more control just to get that extra contrast out of it. And it looks like that's what we're gonna get out of the W95B. I'm really excited to hear that this year. Now, as for the audio system, they more or less left it alone. They didn't make any huge changes there. But there is one more picture quality related little piece of trickery that they're pulling that I wanna tell you about. I haven't heard anything about this. Maybe folks just don't talk about it, but Panasonic talked about it today. So they have a system that analyzes the temperature of the backlight system itself, right? As those little mini LEDs work harder and harder and harder, they get hotter and hotter and harder. And as those mini LEDs get hotter and hotter, the quality of the light output that they have changes, right? Basically, you're looking at little variations in the color temperature of the white light that feeds the color filter. And the thing is, when that white light changes, the color accuracy coming from the LCD color filter kind of goes out the window. Well, this has a system that analyzes the temperature of the backlight and makes changes to the color filtration system so that if it's been running all day, let's say you watched hockey, bunch of white on your screen all day long for 2 or 3 hours, and then you decide you wanted to watch golf. Well, on a lot of TVs, the green grass wouldn't be the right color of green because the backlight system was too hot and was putting out a different kind of light, and the color filter wasn't doing its job exactly as it should. Panasonic has built a system that compensates for that, which I think is kind of neat. It knows when the backlight gets to this temperature, it's doing this funky thing, and now our color filter is going to adapt. We're gonna make sure that we're always getting accurate color out of the front of this TV. Is it just marketing hype? I don't know. It sounds awesome though. They're pretty serious about it. Panasonic is not really on the hype train in the way some other brands are, so I have good reason to believe that it's a legit piece of technology. Sounds awesome though, doesn't it? Anyway, those are the improvements that we have with the W95B this year. Now, let me tell you about the third television that Panasonic's bringing to the US this year. Okay, so I promised you a third Panasonic TV in the US market this year, and that is exactly what I have behind me right now. Folks, this is the new W70B. Now, Panasonic describes this as more of an entry-level television. What that means is that it's going to be a standard LED backlight, not mini LED. I'm not even convinced that it's a full array local dimming. I'll have to double check that with Panasonic. They didn't put that on the graphic as far as I remember. They fed us with a lot of information, but it's meant to be more of an entry-level TV. That means it's going to have some very stiff competition in the United States. But even though it may not have the widest color gamut, what it does have is Panasonic's processing, which is going to do wonders for the image quality in general. I will expect this to cost a bit more than, say, the TCL or Hisense competition of comparably equipped TVs, but it may have that little edge with Panasonic's processing. At any rate, it's a win regardless of where it sits in Panasonic's lineup, because finally Panasonic has a third option here in the United States. Slow growth, but growth nonetheless, and that's exactly what we wanted to see in 2025. Panasonic made its triumphant return in 2024. One more TV in 2025 does show growth, and it's in a sector where we can expect it to sell more units. Let's be honest now, the Z95B and the W95B are both more enthusiast TVs, and they're not going to sell a ton of those units, especially with lots of high-end competition out there. But with this particular unit, Panasonic may put its name into more homes. And when you're trying to rebuild your brand in a market, that's the best way to do it.